Blaine Anderson, right? That's your last name, or that's what?
That is, yeah.
Cool. From Dating by Blaine joining us. So this was someone. I think a few people actually requested this podcast. So I think
Oh.
initially someone said that you should debate her, but then I watched her content again. I realized there's really nothing we disagree on substantially. So it's going to be more of like a podcast type interview. But let's start off, I guess, with a quick introduction. Tell the guys a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Blaine. I am a dating coach for men. I have an Instagram channel as well as a course that I teach, which is a 5-week masterclass course that helps men improve their dating skills.
Cool. How did you get started? I'm always curious when I see a female dating coach who's doing advice for men. Like, what made you get into all this stuff?
Yeah, it started organically. I would like to even say playground days, but probably officially a little bit after that, more like in college when I would have guy friends being like, so like your sorority sisters, like what's the deal with this one or that one? And I just started sort of giving advice organically. Then after college, I moved to New York City, and it was when dating apps were really just becoming mainstream and not such a taboo thing to, meet people online. And I would look at my guy friends' profiles and be like, of course you're not getting matches. Like let me fix this. And I'd fix up their profiles. So from there, it kind of just snowballed and developed organically where they would refer me to their friends and I'd help with their profiles or just giving general dating advice. And then a couple years ago, I've been starting to work with men more one-on-one. And I was like, I could help a lot more guys at a lower price point if I put this all into one masterclass, because people think that their situation's unique, and obviously everyone has a unique point A, but most people really want to get to the same point B of feeling confident and secure with women. And a lot of the same kind of advice and strategies will get you there. So I packaged that into a masterclass, and that's where we're at today.
What sorority were you in?
I was in Gamma Phi Beta.
Okay, I'm trying to think if we had that. I think we did. What's the abbreviation for that?
G5B.
G5B. No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Or like Gamma Phi. Oh, Gamma Phi.
Gamma Phi. Okay, that sounds familiar. Where did you go to school?
U of A, Arizona.
Oh, U of A. Okay, I thought you.
What about you?
UVA for a second because I was like, oh shit, I almost went there. That'd been funny. Interesting.
Where did you go?
I went to BU.
Okay.
Sucks to be you. That's what they always say. Okay, cool. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
How old am I? I'm 32.
Oh, yeah, me too. Oh, yeah. So we could have actually ran into each other in college because it's funny because I wasn't in a fraternity, but I lived in a fraternity house. So I would get to like go to all their parties. So if you and I actually went to the school, we probably would have intersected because chances are your sorority would be partying with that fraternity that I was living in. So that's funny. Small world. Okay. So let's start with this. What are the common like mistakes you find guys are making?
Ooh. I would say, there's a few. It depends if you want to go the online, offline direction.
Let's start with online and then we'll get into offline.
Okay. Offline, the biggest mistake is just like not understanding what makes a good photo. And I think women and men might just disagree on, what makes a good photo of a guy, but ultimately you're not trying to appeal to other guys or even yourself. Like you want to appeal to women if you're trying to get matches from women. And I'm always just so shocked when my clients are like, okay, I got this good photo. And then they send it to me. I'm like, this is not a good photo. Like, what? So that's like the most common mistake I see online is just like not having good profiles and then feeling frustrated with online dating when they aren't getting matches. And it's really, they shouldn't be taking it personally or getting frustrated because it's not about, them. It's about how they made their profile.
What do you think makes a good photo?
The most fundamental basic thing that makes a good photo is I can see what you look like and the photo is high quality. Like if a woman doesn't know what you look like from looking at your profile, I actually just did a post on this yesterday. She is not going to match with you. If it's like, oh, maybe he's cute, but I don't know, he kind of looks like, I can't really tell, then it's like, nah, just onwards, because women have so many options online. I talk about this a lot. Like, it's just the way it works in terms of online dating. Women have more choices at the top of the funnel. Even women who a lot of guys might not think like, oh, she's not that desirable or like, she's not going to have that many choices. She has way more choices than you do. I guarantee it in terms of like getting matches. So you have to have an exceptional profile and pictures that clear what you look like and just high quality. No one wants like a grainy, even if you look hot, but it's like a grainy photo. It's like, nah.
Okay. Here's my take. I mean, I agree with what you said about the photo shouldn't be pixelated or whatever. Although I find that's like less and less common now with the new smartphones technology, unless you have like an old school flip phone. Like if you have the latest iPhone or Samsung, like
Totally. That's good enough.
yeah, like chances of getting like a shitty photo are low. Like you'd have to like really be shaking the camera as you're taking the photo. You'd have to have someone with like, I don't know, like fucking like having a seizure while they're taking your photo in order to get shit
I don't
quality.
know. I see a lot of photos and I'm like, that's like, why is this quality so low?
Yeah, I guess it happens. But I would say the two big things for me is that one, you look good in your photo. You look better than you do in real life. So if you're like a 7, you should look like at least like a 7.5. But I think most guys look worse in their photos than they do in real life. Like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, you look like a 3, but you're actually like a pretty decent looking guy. And the second is the photo looks natural. Like it doesn't look like really posed, like you're trying like, all right, let's take a picture.
Yeah.
So those have always been the two big things for me when I'm looking at like clients. But yeah, I agree with you. Like their face should be visible. It shouldn't be like 20 dudes and like you can't really tell which one it is.
Yeah.
Or like on like some mountain from like taking
like really
20
far
miles
away.
Yeah, and you can like make out like maybe like the forehead. Yeah, okay. What do you think? If there's anything we're missing, like is there anything else you think that's important for guys to keep in mind when they're taking photos?
I think that if you can like nail what you look like in high quality, you're going to be better off than like a lot of guys on dating apps. So
Yeah, I agree. Have you ever like swiped? Well, I guess the first question is, do you have Tinder yourself?
no, I'm engaged.
Oh, okay. Did you? How did you meet your significant other?
We met at a workout class.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, do you know Barry's? Barry's boot
Yeah, I've
camp?
heard of it. I've never done it, but I've heard of it. Yeah, Barry's boot camp.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
met
interesting.
there.
Cool. Well, how did it go? Like, did he like just like were you guys sitting next to each other?
So I actually talk about this a lot because I feel like the gym is a controversial place to meet women, or so many people are like, no, it's off limits no matter what. And like, I obviously disagree with that. I met my fiance there and I met a previous boyfriend at the gym as well. But it's all about how you approach it. And in his case, it's a fitness class. You're taking classes together. And he waited until after class. Like I know now we've been taking class together for like 6 months, but I was like in my own little world, like had never noticed him, but he had been like noticing me like, oh, like I want to talk to her, but had just never done it. And then one day after class, I was hanging around in the lobby, like on my phone. And he just came up and was like, hey, I've seen you here a few times. So I wanted to introduce myself. Like, my name's Owen. And I was like, oh, do you work here? And he was like, no, we just take class together. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry.
Yes, I do. I need to talk to you about your form. I'm gonna have to evaluate your performance in the class. Why don't you go in this back room with me, and we'll do the professional evaluation. That'd been funny. That would be funny if he just went with that. Like, yeah, I totally work here. Yeah, I've been working here for like 8 years.
No, but then from there, he really literally just introduced himself and was like, cool, see you around, and left. But then once he had made the connection, 2 days later, when I'm in class and I see him, it's like, oh, hey, like then I now knew who he was. So it was like natural to say hi to each other. And we would talk a little bit before or after class, or when we'd see each other, like on the street coming or going. And then after we had connected a few times and chatted a few times, Barry's is nice like that because everyone is kind of congregated in the lobby before and after. So it gives you like ideal time to build a connection. After he'd established like, okay, we've had some good back and forth, like I'm fairly certain she's single, then he invited me to a housewarming party, and that was like kind of his excuse to get my phone number.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like there's pros and cons to that strategy. So the pro is that you built a lot more comfort. So it's like if you go for like the phone number the first time you meet the girl, like she might not be comfortable enough to give it to you, or it might be like too much pressure. So there are pros to doing it that way. But the con is, what if she doesn't take that class again? So right, so you're like, oh, I'm just gonna play the long game and I'll get her number like maybe next class, but then she doesn't take the next class, right? Because life is kind of random, and then you don't get your chance, right? So I feel like there's pros and cons to that strategy. I think it's like a risk either way. What do you think about that?
So my thought is that someplace like the gym or someplace like it's their place of employment, it's a coffee shop and she's working there. I call those places high stigma environments. And those are places that a woman might not want to meet a guy because you can go back there and show up anytime, or she doesn't want to have to see this guy that it didn't work out with at the gym. So you need to build that connection over multiple periods to increase the likelihood she says yes. Like if some guy asked me for my phone number at the gym and was like, oh, we take class together, I'd be like, the first time we met, like, I don't know, like, oh, like I'm not really interested because I don't want to have that continued potentially awkward interaction. So sometimes that just means you miss out because you're at a high stigma environment like the gym, and maybe you don't see her again. And like that, thus is life. But in his case, like he knew I went to basically like the same couple classes. He'd been seeing me over months. Like it was pretty clear that he would have another opportunity to chat and approach me again.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think classes are like a good idea for guys who are like struggling. I think classes might actually be a good idea. I remember I used to do like yoga classes way back in the day, and yeah, like I do remember like I actually had a few girls like come up to me, or like they didn't like say, "Hey, can I get your number?" They were like, "Hey, I see you in the class a lot," so they were kind of like hinting at it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had a girlfriend.
I love workout classes as a place to meet women. Pilates classes. I mean, I don't think like, oh, go to these things because you want to pick up women. Yeah, you need to be into the activity. Yeah. Otherwise, like women will sense it and it'll be
you're just like miserable during the class. You're like, I hate this shit.
Yeah. And then afterwards you're approaching women, not gonna fly. But if you're genuinely interested in the class, and it's like maybe you're not gonna, it's just like a nice way to expand your social circle with more women, which is another thing I think is like underrated, is that oftentimes men think, oh, like it needs to be her. And it's like, well, maybe not. But if you are friends with her and you're like in the yoga community or the Pilates community, like you're naturally going to meet more women in that environment and like-minded women. And it might not be the girl in your class, but maybe it's your friend, or maybe it's at the community gathering or the opening party, whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's true. I did meet a lot of people in the yoga community back when I used to do that. That's a good point. Okay, let me ask you this. What do you think are some general go-tos, like some other things if a guy wants to approach a girl at the gym that he sees? What are some things that he should keep in mind?
Okay, so always like wait until she's not working out. So not while she's doing cardio, not while she's lifting weights, not in the middle of the class. It needs to be before or after, at the water fountain when she's heading in or out. And again, what I said before, this sometimes means there isn't going to be the opportunity. And that's just like the way it is. Do not at the expense of interrupting her workout, oh, this is my only chance because I'm leaving, so I need to approach. Okay, that maybe just means it wasn't meant to be, or it didn't work out for you this time. So the key is timing, number one. And then number two, what I said before is don't rush it. Don't rush the invite. Build a little bit of a connection first, because the likelihood of her not wanting to, have to keep seeing somebody that she has turned down after a date is high. So you need to make her aware that you're worth it, that there's enough of a connection that like, okay, like I'll go out with this guy because like I don't think he's going to be a weirdo if I end up not wanting to go on a second date with him.
Yeah, I've had notoriously terrible luck at the gym. I mean, I've gotten like phone numbers, but for some reason, all my gym phone numbers have always been flaky. But I think that's just like there's an element of luck to that. I've had much better luck at like, I guess this only applies if you have a dog. Like a dog park is good.
Love that, yeah.
Yeah, just like on the street, at coffee shops and shit. Like if there's a chick sitting by herself, that has always worked fairly well for me. At the grocery store, I don't know how many girls I've hooked up with from Whole Foods. Like I should send them like some kind of like a thank you note or something. Like Whole Foods is like.
Wait, what's your like go-to approach at Whole Foods?
I'll go up to her and I'll pick a big thing of kale and I'll be like, "Hey, I heard you like it organic, mommy." No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'll like probably, it depends on what she's doing, but if she's like if she's like really digging into some like grocery or some package or something like that, I'll probably make a joke. I'll be like, "Ooh, don't get that. That's the worst." And she'll be like, "Really? Why? I like this stuff." I'm like, "Nah, it's the worst." I'll just fuck around with her and then I'll like start the convo. Or like, I don't know, sometimes if we're by the flowers section, I'll just pick up flowers and be like, "Look, I got you these." But I think you have to make eye contact first before you do that, because then you can startle her. I remember one time, this was pretty funny. Like at my Whole Foods in California when I used to live there, I was like notorious for like trying to pick up girls there. So whenever I would walk in, all like the guys behind the meat and deli counter would just like look at me and like nod because they were just waiting for it because they're like so bored at work. I remember one time,
a show, like a reality show.
I fucked up real bad because I was picking out like fucking carrots or something and like, like the frozen food section or the frozen. So my hands were really cold. And then I saw a chick in the meat section. So I walked up to her, but I forgot that my hands were really cold and I wanted to get her attention. So I just tapped her on the shoulder. And because my hands were so cold, she like jumped in the air and shit. And then it was like so odd. It was so hard to recover from that. I'm like, "Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you." At that point, she was just like kind of sketched out.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I try to make it contextual. I don't like to go in like too direct at grocery stores and be like, "Hey, you're really cute," like because I think that can like push girls away. So I like to
Yeah,
go
you
in
gotta test
more,
the waters first.
more like under the radar. What do you think about that? Like if a guy's approaching a girl, do you think he should go more direct or indirect?
I like breaking the ice first. A great way, like you mentioned before, is like, have you made eye contact? Have you made eye contact? Have you given her a little smile? If she's like diverting her eyes and looking away, probably a sign that she's not interested in being approached. But if she's not and she's made eye contact back, then I love breaking the ice with something relevant or contextual. Like, what can you comment on that she's doing or holding or provide info about? Like, oh, I love that book. I've read it before. If you're at a bookstore or whatever. And then
Have you
from
heard about the
there,
war in Ukraine?
if she engages, like, keep the conversation flowing. And I talk about this a lot on my Instagram, but qualifying. So that's part of it. Like, the part of the qualifying is, does she seem interested? Is she returning the interest to you? Does it seem like you have things in common, or it might make sense? Like, if you're at yoga or at the gym, like, boom, that's a like-minded situation. Are you confident she's single? You can't always ascertain that, in a brief interaction, but little things like look for a ring. Like, is she, facing towards you and engaged? Has she mentioned, if you're someplace like the gym where you're talking to her multiple times, has she mentioned a partner? It's if you can distinguish whether these things are true prior to asking her out, you're going to increase your odds of her saying yes and getting turned down less.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, like you have to embrace rejection because a certain percentage of girls are just going to reject you, and it's nothing personal. It's just
absolutely most girls are going to reject you at some point,
sure.
whether it's initially or later when you mutually decide it's not a fit or you do. Like, rejection is part of dating, and I think the more comfortable you can get with that, the more successful you will be.
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask you about this. I know you have like some content on like openers, best openers, worst openers. What do you, in your opinion, are like the best Tinder openers or whatever online dating openers?
So my opinion is that the best online openers are going to be personal to the woman. Like I mentioned before, women have a lot of options online. So she's literally has 45 guys being like, hey, how was your weekend? So it's funny, I did a post about this the other day, and a girl DM'd me and was like, and the worst part is Hinge doesn't let you copy and paste, so I can't even just say the same thing over and over again. So saying something that's going to make you stand out from all of the other matches and messages she's getting. And this doesn't mean you need to scour her profile and come up with the most unique, funny, perfect line. But it's ask her about something she wants to talk about. What do you see in her profile that she hasn't already heard today and she probably wants to talk about or could make her smile?
Yeah, I agree with you that personal openers based on her profile are the best. One other distinction I've noticed, because I've done a lot of experiments, as low key creepy as it sounds, I've created profiles as chicks, right, and just to see what kind of openers guys are giving. And what I noticed, actually, I had a pretty big epiphany, is that when you come up with a custom opener, you want it to be based on her photos and not on her bio, because every guy is referencing the bio, but almost no one references the photos. And my theory is because it requires a lot more creativity to come up with something based off the photos, right? Well, the bio is really easy. Like if she says just moved to Miami, it's like, oh, hey, when did you move to Miami? So you're technically riffing off her profile, but it's really easy because it's based on her bio. So I always say riff off her photos, not the bio. Yeah, because every time that would happen. There's three. I think there's three types of openers that guys generally do. They either riff off the bio, something simple. They do a pickup line of some sorts, like roses are red, violet, my balls are blue, whatever. I don't know, some weird shit. And then the other one is a generic, hey, how's it going? Hi, how are you? Hey there. Hey, hi, some variation of that.
The worst ones.
That's 95% of the openers that chicks receive. Is there any good but I think sometimes though, I don't know, if you're super busy, it can be time consuming to come up with those custom openers. Is there any standard openers that you think are fairly decent?
I mean, I would always say how busy can you be? Spend 30 seconds looking at her profile. Standard openers. I've seen a couple that I have, but I might at least get her attention. I remember I saw one that was okay, let's start this out fun. Option 1, rap battle. Option 2, funny pickup line. Option 3, dad joke. And then, you know, she picks one and then he follows up with something. And obviously he could use that on 100 women and have the same 3 options that he could engage with, but it at least like gets her intrigued and it's something a little bit different.
I'm just thinking of a variation of that. Option 1, dick pic. Option 2, dick pic. Option 3, guess what? Dick pic. You have to pick
and
one.
Blocked. Yeah.
You know what would be fun? You know what would be interesting? We did recently experiment, well, not recently, like 4 or 5 months ago, where we tested like some of the most common openers on Reddit and ones I've come up with. I'd be curious to get your opinion on them. You mind if I pull these up?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting. All right, so let me pull this up. This is on my website, blainefire.com. 1 second, bear with me. Blainefire.com. There we go. Let's go under tips and guides. Tinder profile setup. Best and worst. No, these are bios. Here, let me share the screen. 1 second. Okay. There we go. We're seeing the screen. Okay, let's exit out of that. Okay. I want to find the openers one. No. Oh, I think it's under this text game. We have so many articles. That's the hard part. But how to message on Tinder as a man? Why double texting is bad? 3 best Tinder openers. There we go. Okay. So here. Can you see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Number 1 is so I guess we're dating now. What do you think?
Thumbs down.
No? Okay. Not fan? Okay. Can I be
honest? Better than so we're dating now, but I'm still like, eh.
This is kind of how it goes. Can I be honest? Sure. You're just my type.
Cute, but again, feels like he could use it on anybody.
Okay. Hey, future lover.
Oh, no, I don't like that at all.
Okay. That was one of my. Hey, trouble.
I could see where that could go, but none of these again because they aren't personal, so I'm not gonna like any of them that much.
Well, let's see. Maybe there's one that stands out more. Hey, nerd.
Okay.
I don't like this one. So, hi. Hey, I'm the one. You can delete this app now.
Okay, I want to interrupt and say something. Like, if he has an awesome profile, any of these could work.
Right.
It's so much more about, because they are a little bit different. At least it's not like, hey, what's up? Or how was your weekend? Or happy Friday, whatever. So I might be even if you said something that the kind of hey, future lover, you can delete this app. And I'd be like, oh, he's a tool. And then I'd be like, well, let's look at his profile. And then I'd be like, okay, he has a good profile. He's funny or whatever. I'll match with him. But then if he had a lame profile, I'd be like, nah, no.
Okay. So this one is better or worse than some of the others?
Medium. I don't know. It's better than I think it's actually I feel like it's actually worse than Hate Trouble. I feel like Hate Trouble I'd be more intrigued. Where's this going?
Okay, I like that. How does this work? Are we married now?
No, that's stupid.
Okay. This one's kind of dumb. You just take her name. When life gives you, insert her name, make lemonade.
I'd be like, wait, what?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
This one cracks me up. My 3rd grade crush's name was insert her name. I used to pull her hair and steal her crayons.
Okay, that's cuter.
Yeah, I like that one too. Okay, I mean I guess those were it. Okay, all right. Let's exit out of that. Yeah, I mean I think it's really hard to come up with a standard generic opener that's good. It's only what's better,
Well, and online dating is absolutely a numbers game. You have to swipe and message a lot of people, but I still think there's something to be said for putting in a little bit of effort and just taking it. Because again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Okay, I really I'm a huge foodie, so let's see if she has a picture with food in it, and then talk about that or ask it and steer the conversation in that direction. You can have kind of a go-to playbook that works for you, that guides conversations into directions that you're going to be able to shine or talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you know nothing about wine, don't be like, ooh, is that a Malbec? But if you are a wino and that's something that you can shine and talk about and kind of flex your knowledge, then that's an awesome thing to comment on in her profile.
Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you this question: like, what do you think is like the main issues that guys face like dating in 2022?
Mm. I think, well, first of all, I feel like online dating creates this sort of cycle of like a lot of, from my experience and the guys I work with, a lot of them come to me and they're feeling like they're constantly being rejected, and they're taking the rejection of not getting matches online or not going on dates with these women they see online personally. And I've already talked about how you can't take that personally, because she doesn't even know you. This is literally a complete stranger. That's your ego getting in the way. But because we are conditioned that, with social media and technology now, we want instant results, and dating apps are literally programmed to be entertainment. And then when they don't develop into like the reason that you think you're there, it creates this sense of like rejection and dread and failure, when that's actually not the case. Like, these dating apps are not as much as like, it's meant to be deleted. It's here to help you find your partner. No, they're there to make money. That is a business, and they're there to keep you hooked on them.
Yeah.
And I think that creates sort of an unhealthy dynamic with around expectations dating and like what you should be getting out of it. And that can also spill over into how you feel about approaching women and how you feel about yourself going on dates. When the reality is, like, single women want to meet awesome single guys. So if you're approaching women with the right intentions, like, they want to meet you. It doesn't mean she's going to be romantically interested in you and want to date you. And that's okay. But like, you need to get your ego out of it and stop feeling like taking rejection personally, so you can meet more women and have, the potential to have the positive interactions that you're out there for.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Here's an interesting question. What's your opinion on FaceTiming before meeting from online?
So I would say, if it works for you and that's something that is important to you, go for it. During the pandemic, it was obviously necessary. I actually don't think it's something that like I tell my clients you need to do before a date.
I agree.
Because unless it's like there's a specific reason, maybe you live far apart and like you live an hour away, but you're open to dating somebody who lives in a major city, rather than making the hour drive. Like, yeah, like have a quick FaceTime to assess things. But like, you're going to find a lot more meeting up with somebody in person. So if you can, just like get off the text, get out from behind the screen and get face to face.
Yeah, I agree. I've never been that big of a fan of FaceTime. Actually, during the pandemic, I remember like chicks used to like always do that. Oh, let's do a virtual date. I'd be like, what even is that? Like, I don't even understand what that means. So I would always try to like weasel my way out of doing like FaceTime and shit.
Do you have a go-to first date?
My go-to first date would be, well, ideally she comes over and we like drink wine at my place, but some chicks are not down to come over for safety reasons and whatnot.
I would never do that for a first date with someone I met online.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. Like, I think if I was a girl, I probably wouldn't do that either. Like I get the safety issue. I mean, I know she's like safe with me, but she doesn't know that. So yeah, like if she doesn't feel comfortable doing that, I'll just meet her at like a bar or something. I like to keep first dates very simple. Like, I think guys overcomplicate dates and they try to like impress the girl by taking her on all these like fancy activities.
Absolutely not. Simple. You don't even know if you like this woman. Why do you want to invest your time and money? Like, what if she's awful?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, do you mind me asking what part of you said you're Central Time Zone, so you're like what, in Chicago or something, or the Midwest?
Texas.
Austin. Cool. Oh, I used to live in Austin.
No way.
Yeah, I used to live in East Austin by what's it called? But where all the hipsters are, you know that area?
Yeah, I love East Austin. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. Do you ever go to Picnic?
So I no, because I'm a vegetarian and they actually don't have that many good vegetarian options for like real food.
Yeah, if you're a vegetarian, you're living in the wrong city. Texas is literally all about.
No way, Austin has such good vegetarian options. Yeah, it's 2022.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's all like kind of hippie, dippy.
Yeah, Juiceland. Did you go to Juiceland? I feel like that's like the vegan equivalent of Picnic.
It's downtown, right? Juiceland is downtown.
It's an Austin chain, but they're all over now. But I love Juiceland.
Yeah. My favorite thing was Picnic. I love that restaurant. I'm gonna like fucking reach out to those owners and say, yo, I'll give you guys $20,000 as an investment. Just open this shit in Miami because that place is so good.
That's how I feel about Pura Vida in Miami.
You like Pura Vida that much? Yeah,
Oh
my
my God,
roommate.
I love Pura Vida.
Yeah, if you're a vegetarian, that's definitely a good option. Yeah.
It's so quick. It's so convenient. They like whenever I'm in Miami, we'll like get it delivered to our hotel. Just like if I'm working, it's like I don't want to like go out and have to figure something out. Just like bring me the salmon bowl from Pura Vida.
Yeah. Maybe I should give it another shot. I had it a while ago. I remember my mom was in town. I took her there.
Give it
Yeah,
another shot. It's good.
I'll
Good
give it
coffee
another
too.
shot. I'll give it another shot. Okay, let me see. Let me see if we have any other questions. Yo, guys, if you have any questions, get them in now. We're probably gonna go for like another 10, 15 minutes. Uh, or otherwise we can just chat about Texas. I mean, I did enjoy my time there, but for me, it gets a little too cold in the winter.
Oh yeah, yeah, it does. February is like miserable. I feel like it's always like icy. There's like freak storms, and like no one knows how to deal with the storms. Like the whole city shuts down. I'm like, I need a plot to get out of here next February.
Where are you gonna go? Are you gonna go to Miami?
I'd like to go to Hawaii.
Oh, Hawaii's really cool. Yeah, I've been there several times. Yeah, Hawaii is awesome. Like one of my favorite places on the planet. Although it's kind of expensive to live there.
Very
Okay.
expensive to live there.
What are her thoughts on double texting?
Ooh, okay. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with double texting, but something I do talk about a lot is identifying women who it's not going to work out with and moving on from those ones. Like stop wasting time on women who aren't interested.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is something to say, like, you don't keep texting a woman. Like as soon as you realize a woman is not interested, like move on, drop it and move on. That being said, there are plenty of times where a woman is interested and you can send a second text message. Double texting is not inherently bad.
Yeah.
If it's a theme and you're always the one texting and like, hey, like nudge or like following up here, that's a sign that you might be wasting your time. And so like keep it moving. But there's plenty of times where you can send like a friendly follow-up text, especially if you feel like there was a good connection. Maybe you've been on one date, just to like see what happens. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I don't think I've double, triple texted. I mean, you just don't want to do it like right away. Like I'll wait like a while. But yeah, I've had so many. I've shown so many stories where I've like had to double, triple, even quadruple text a girl, and then ultimately I got her out on a date. Although I take it to like some next level shit because I'm like trying to get a really interesting video. So I'm like, okay, this chick is totally not interested. If I can turn this around, this will make a really good video. So I subject myself to this torture, this mental anguish. No, I'm just kidding. It's not a big deal for me.
Well, I think it also comes down to like, why are you double texting? Like, is it because you are interested in her and you want to get her out again, or it's because like you need validation, and if like she's the one who doesn't respond to you, like you're gonna feel bad about yourself. Like that's not a good reason to send another text just to get a message.
Right. Okay. Is there any other good questions? Someone says, question for Blaine: how much does her course cost?
So my 5-week course is $1,295, $1,295. But I do have payment plan options.
Cool. What? This is actually a funny question. I actually was curious about that myself. Does Blaine have creepy guy clients that try to hit on her?
Not clients. No, like if you're gonna invest almost $1,300 in improving your dating life, like you're hopefully doing that for the right reasons, not a shot at a soon to be married woman. That's like a really big waste of money. But yeah, like on Instagram and like social media, I get some pretty weird stuff.
Do you? Okay, I can imagine.
Oh, yeah,
that.
of course.
Even I get some weird stuff, and I'm a dude.
Yeah.
Okay. What are her thoughts if you're mutually attracted to one another, but there's a language barrier? Thanks, Alex. My advice is Google Translate.
Sorry, say that again?
My take on that is simply Google Translate.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if you're both open to it. If you're kind of open to working through the language barrier and you have good chemistry, then like by all means go for it. But both parties do need to be okay with that, because I traveled full time for a few years. So I dated guys in a lot of different countries back in the day. And there was definitely moments where I was like, oh, this is like kind of like worth it. And it was like fun and flirty trying to like talk to each other. And there was times where I was like, oh, this is like too much. This is annoying. Like go away. Like I can't like put in the effort to like figure out what you're saying right now.
Yeah, yeah. I've definitely hooked up with like dozens of girls just from Google Translate. They didn't speak like a word of English. I've had that happen a lot in like Colombia or Eastern Europe and whatnot. Uh, yeah, but it is a lot easier over there. Like in Eastern Europe, like just the fact that I have blue eyes and blonde hair is like kind of well, not in Eastern Europe, but in Colombia, that's like
Yeah, they're
it's,
like
it's
down.
like a huge factor there.
I
Like
love Colombia.
me too. I love walking around Medellin because, like, when I'm walking around Medellin, I see like all these like hot Colombian girls with big booties like looking at me. And it's like so easy to go up. Like when a girl's like staring at you, it's so easy to get her number. Like you really,
Yeah.
it's just like, hola, like, ¿cómo estás?
And there's
Telefono?
really beautiful women in Colombia.
Yeah, yeah. Versus in Miami, I'm walking around and I'm just like a ghost. Like no one's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
usually like PWF fans that are looking at me. It's not like hot chicks, unfortunately. Okay, this is an interesting question. Do you get short or ugly dudes results with hot girls or girls they would have obtained anyway with a little more confidence?
Or girls they would have obtained anyway with a little more
Let,
confidence?
let's
Well,
ignore let's ignore the second part of that question because it's kind of
okay.
confusing. Just the first
Yeah.
part of the question.
Short and ugly dudes. First of all, being short does not have to hold you back. Like, I will admit, I'm not going to lie to you and say, like, there are no disadvantages to being short. The reality is, many women want guys around their height or taller. But if you are confident and you are comfortable marketing yourself, there are plenty of women out there who will not mind your height. And that truly applies to looks too. But you have to be, if you're like, I'm ugly, I'm short, no woman wants to date me. No, I'm not going to be able to help you attract quality women. But part of what I teach men how to do is appreciate their worth and understand what makes them awesome and then learn how to market to those things to women.
Yeah,
So
for
like
sure.
you need to know how to market yourself. And that's one of the things that I teach men how to do. And like whether you think you're short, whether you think you're ugly or you are short, or even if you're tall and handsome, but you don't know how to market yourself, like you aren't going to be getting the quality of women like that you are capable of once you know how to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I see from time to time like short dudes with like hot chicks. Actually, last night we were going out for hookah, and I saw like some really short dude making out with a hot girl. I was like, damn, like homie's got some skills. Uh,
Yeah. No,
sometimes
it's
they're very.
about
Mhm.
I think like it's about your personality and like what you put out there. I started taking two-step lessons because I live in Texas. And my dance instructor is like 5'5" and his girlfriend is 5'10". But he's like so charismatic and he's passionate and he's an amazing dancer. And all of those things are going to outweigh, like if you are fun to spend time with, that is going to outweigh like a woman who's like, he's short. And if she does think like, oh, you're short, then like you don't want to be with her anyway. Like that's not really the type of woman who you should be going after. There are plenty of good-looking women who aren't going to mind your height if you have a good
Yeah,
personality.
or at least not minded to the point where it's a deal breaker. Like they might not
Yeah.
like it, but it's like
And they
yeah,
might not design it in their like perfect avatar boyfriend.
yeah.
But guys underappreciate, in my opinion, that women are attracted to guys who are fun to spend time with. Like, what is it like to spend time with you? Is it boring or lackluster or just like kind of blah? Or is it fun and exciting and interesting? Women
Mhm.
value that, at least in my opinion, quality women who are looking for, quality men over just physical appearances.
Yeah, for sure. I think you don't even need to be like I think guys sometimes think they need to have like a super fun lifestyle, but I always use myself as an example. My lifestyle is actually like super boring. Like all I do is do like podcasts, make YouTube videos, play with my dog, like fucking like shit like that, smoke hookah. I don't know, like talk
But
to
if
friends.
you're passionate
Yeah,
about those
yeah.
things, that's what
Well,
it comes down to. That's another thing I think guys get wrong. They think like, oh, I need to have, like you said, these interesting and exciting and like sexy hobbies. It's like, no, your hobbies should be whatever you are actually enjoy and are passionate about, because passion is hot. Like you being excited about your hookah or your dog is what is cool, not the fact that like you smoke hookah. But it's like, oh yeah, I know all these different, like cool places that are like fun to like hang out and have good music and like it's a good vibe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can show you all the ways to torture my dog. There's like 10 different ways that I wrote down. We can chase him around. We can pull his tail. We can like give him like purple nurples. No, I mean my dog is like super fun to like play with. Okay, I mean I think that's basically I'm trying to think of
So yeah, in short, to answer that question, yes, I can get short, ugly guys results.
I think the hardest dudes to get results is if they have a victim complex. Like if someone starts seeing,
Yes.
those are like the hardest clients. I've had so many situations. Are you familiar with the black pill community?
No.
Oh, it's like this community that thinks that like it's probably better that you don't keep your mind non-tainted.
Pure.
Yeah, keep your mind pure, like pure vida. No, I mean like the main thing of the community is that looks are the only things that matter, and looks will determine everything in life, not just your success with women, but your career.
If you believe that, it's true. That's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If you're like, I am ugly, therefore I cannot succeed, like get ready for a lot of disappointment.
Yeah, I've had like discussions with those guys, and I like offer them like, dude, like I'll fucking coach you for free. Like, let's just do a video on it. Like, I'll fucking actually like spend hours of my time for free with you, helping you improve your profile. And they always are like, okay, fine. And they just always like drop off or disappear. And then like I'll follow up with them, be like, yo, man, what's going on? Oh, it's not worth it. I'm doomed. I'm like, all right, whatever.
I feel bad. That's like sad, and I think that's like a psychological trauma issue, something a little deeper. But I feel like those people don't want results, really. They just want to complain.
Yeah, it's like it's a very fascinating psychological thing, like the victim complex. But once you become like a victim, it's like you kind of get like these dopamine rushes, and like you get a high off being a victim. So you enjoy being a victim more than you enjoy like getting results. Basically, it's like a really weird psychological phenomenon. Basically,
that sounds awful.
It is awful. Like and you see it also, like it's not only with like some like lonely dudes. You can also see it with some chicks as well. I've seen that. So yeah, that's like a.
Well, I mean, you see that with people generally. It doesn't even have to be in relation to dating. And some people are just always the victim.
Yeah. Let's on a side note, those are the chicks I always avoid. Like, you never want to date a victim girl because she's always gonna like, yeah, it's just not a good look. Okay, I mean, cool. This was a lot of fun. Do you want to plug your stuff, Blaine? So let the guys know where they can find you and whatnot.
Absolutely. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dating by Blaine. I also have a ton of free resources and guides on my website, datingbyblaine.com, and hit me up if you're interested in my masterclass.
Cool. Why don't you go harder on YouTube? I feel like you have a really good Instagram.
I should, because I just have no time, but it's actually on my list to like spend some time there this summer. So
yeah, you can take.
be on the lookout for my YouTube channel too. I have one. I just like don't have much on it.
Yeah. I noticed that. You can just take your TikTok shorts and like upload them as YouTube shorts, right? Like you don't have.
But then they have like the TikTok watermark. It doesn't matter. You just upload them as is.
Who cares?
Yeah,
it's better. It's better than nothing.
It's true. It is. It really is on my list. Like this month, I'm like, I'm going to start with my YouTube. Because the thing with like the Instagram reels, you can just do them on the shorts.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Blaine. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know if you ever come to Miami. We'll try some Pura Vida again.
All right, cheers. Sounds good. Bye.